Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. And we're still working our way through tons of Prokofiev. Gosh, this has been fun because I've gotten to sample things along the way that I haven't listened to in a while, and it's always such a treat to remember why I kept things or why I didn't really want to keep them but did anyway. Anyway, what have we got in this clump? Here's the clump. Prokofiev Piano Sonatas, Volume 1, with Bernd Glemser on Naxos. As I keep saying, since these should have all been together, but they're spread out all over the place. I don't know why. This is a very good Prokofiev Piano Sonata cycle. Glemser is a fine pianist, serious pianist. He's particularly good in number 7 here, which has a concluding precipitato, which is quite precipitous. It's lovely. It's a wonderful performance. They're all very good. They really are. They deserve more attention than they're ever going to get, for sure. Then we've got this very, very interesting disc with the Linos Ensemble on Capriccio. As I said before, Prokofiev is not known as a composer of chamber music. He really isn't. But there are some rather cool pieces here. So you've got the Overture on Jewish Themes, which is for clarinet, 2 violins, viola, cello, and piano, which is really a wonderful little work full of rather characteristic tunes that sound a lot like Prokofiev anyway, even if they're Jewish themes, which sort of begs the question of where Prokofiev got some of his, melodic fecundity from. And then we've got his quintet for oboe, clarinet, violin, viola, and bass, Opus 39. When was the last time you heard that? An interesting early work from 1924. Which is, I don't think there are that many other recordings of it, frankly. I mean, there are, but, what an interesting thing to couple with Janicek's Wind Sextet, Melody Youth, which is, of course, Janicek. It's fabulous. And his concertino for piano, 2 violins, viola, clarinet, horn, and bassoon. One of the strangest little piano concerto chamber thingies ever written. Amazing. And the performances are wonderful. The Linos Ensemble is terrific. Everything they do is recommendable. Then we've got more Frederick Chu, whose Prokofiev Sonata cycle we talked about, which I found not terribly fabulous, although good, decent, but not, coruscating, which is what Prokofiev's piano music ought to be. It should coruscate. But here he's wonderful, by the way. This is better than the sonatas. It's the 10 pieces from Romeo and Juliet, the 3 pieces from Cinderella, 10 pieces from Cinderella, and then 3 pieces for piano from War and Peace and Lermontov, which is really, really interesting selection of transcriptions, and Chu plays them very, very well. So that's nice to have. And then we've got Oistrakh. Yay, it's coming back in the box. As I said in the last video, this huge Oistrakh box is coming. And by the time you see this video in the year 5683, that box will have probably been discontinued. Anyway, we've got the second violin sonata, Karen Khachaturian's violin sonata, and Szymanowski's violin sonata in D minor with Vladimir Yampolsky. Oistrakh was always amazing. He really was. He was just an incredible violinist, and this is really interesting repertoire. These are mono recordings. Incidentally, 5 piano concertos. Well, we were just talking about these in the last video with Court Mazur and Michel Beroff. This is the Musical Heritage Society reissue. And wow, that was good stuff. That was a wonderful Prokofiev cycle. It was on EMI, Warner, now Warner. It's back on Warner, I gather. And it was really a reference recording for a long time. Then Ashkenazi came along and everybody started screaming about Ashkenazi, but I think these were better. That's me. I really do. They're wonderful performances. Mazur, as I've said before, was very good at select Russian music. He was an East German, and he got the socialist realist thing pretty well. And I have to say that Prokofiev, the 5th Symphony that he did for Warner that we talked about before, was also very good. So yeah, this is worth hearing and worth having. It was always first rate. It really was. Oh, the legendary Koussevitzky. Here he is, the legendary Koussevitzky. Romeo and Juliet, Bits of Suite Number 2, and Symphonies 1 and 5, the classical, and the 5th, recorded 1945 and 47. Rumor has it that a Koussevitzky box is coming from RCA at some point in the not too distant future, which would really be interesting if and when it happens, because I am very curious, as I've spoken to, like, Jed and I were having a conversation, Jed Disler, about whether these performances are really going to hold up as well as their reputation would warrant. Because when I listen to these reissues, which haven't been remastered as well maybe as they could be, I don't know, they don't impress me very much. These I find to be just perfunctory, efficient, and very little else. So I'm really waiting to see if there's a legacy there that's worth, reviving. I don't know. We'll see. Piano Music, Volume 1. The Toccata, Opus 11, 10 small pieces, Opus 12, Sarcasms, Opus 17, Vision Fugitive, Opus 22, 4 pieces, Opus 4. A very, very interesting disc of rarely heard Prokofiev, well played by Etteri, oh, here we go, Etteri Anjaparidze. I did it. Yes, Etteri Anjaparidze. Who must be Georgian or Armenian or something like that. Anyway, he, she, they, I don't even know. Good performances. I bought it for the repertoire, not for the name of the pianist. And I'm sorry. I mean, you try. It was so much easier back in the day when I could write everything down. And then I never had to say it. I just had to spell it. And that was easy to check. But now, here I am, muddling through, as so many of you have had, taken an indecent glee in pointing out. Then we've got this thing, Solti. Remember him? Solti in Chicago, doing bits of Romeo and Juliet, taken from the ballet, not the suites, and the classical symphony. These are not bad performances. They're typical Solti. They're kind of, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, unsubtle, driving, maybe a bit crude, and recorded in rather harshly glary digital sound. They were early digital recordings from Chicago, and boy, did they sound bad, some of those recordings. This is not bad, but it's also not wonderful. And there are better performances of this music by all kinds of other people, which we'll get to. So I hung on to it because it's Solti in Chicago, and it's, I thought I should, but I don't play it very often. When I do, I'm not terribly satisfied. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is a hot one. This is a classic, a serious one. The Ravel Left-Hand Piano Concerto, Prokofiev Third Piano Concerto, the Lieutenant Kijé Suite, and a couple bits of Kodai's Hariano Suite, with John Browning piano, Eric Leinsdorf, and the Philharmonia. This is a fabulous disc. Absolutely. Browning was a wonderful pianist, and he recorded all the piano concertos in Boston with Leinsdorf, but it wasn't as good as this. I mean, they were good. They were very good in places, but this third is fantastic. This Ravel Left-Hand Concerto is one of the best. Really first-rate stuff. And I don't know, EMI should do a Browning box. I don't know how much stuff they have, quite honestly. But these are first-rate performances that you may not know. If you like the Ravel and you like the Prokofiev third, and let's face it, who doesn't, and you can find this, you're really in for a treat. It's marvelous, absolutely marvelous. And then last but not least, speaking of marvelous, Prokofiev Third Piano Concerto, Rachmaninoff First, with all kinds of other little bitty thingies, with Byron Janis, the Moscow Phil, and Kirill Kondrashin. I mean, if this isn't self-recommending on Mercury Living Presence, I don't know what is. Totally awesome. And you get the Prokofiev Toccata, Schumann's Variations on a Theme by Clara Wieck, Mendelssohn's Song Without Words, Opus 62, number 1, and Octavio Pinto, 3 Scenes from Childhood, for your Octavio Pinto collection. We know this recording, and those of you who are watching this and may not know, if you're sort of new to classical music, trust me, this is one of the ones we all know. Byron Janis, who passed away just very recently, was an amazing American pianist. And in the 1950s and 60s, he made a bunch of recordings for Mercury Living Presence, which are classics, all of them. There's not a dud in the bunch. And this certainly isn't one. It's wonderful. And Kirill Kondrashin, the great Russian conductor, it's delicious. Absolutely marvelous. So there you have it, my friends. Keep on listening to your Prokofiev. Oh, there's so much more to come. Thank you for joining me, and take care.